This is gonna get sinister super, super quick. I've been going crazy with this story. I made my little like crazy stuff in here. You guys will know what this is later. Just know that this is here for me and this is here for you. Subway willingly created a monster, Jared Fogle. They gave him money. They gave him fame and easy access to innocent children all around the world. And they got away with it. When I first heard of Jared, the Subway guy, because that was his name, he belonged to Subway. It was through an Amazon Prime documentary, Catching a Monster. And I never actually saw the documentary. I only listened to it. And my original thought about it was corporate greed. I cannot believe that you let this man basically get away with what he did, because Subway knew and they did absolutely nothing to stop him. And then there's Jared, the monster. There was the hero, Rochelle Hermann, the reporter. So kind, so caring, so selfless. That's what I thought at first. I don't think that way anymore. A week ago, I saw an ad for Subway on Amazon Prime promoting their sandwich series. Subway has 6 letters in their name. And I'm only telling you this because you're going to hear a lot of numbers through this whole story. I found out that numbers can be evil or good. It all depends on who is using them and for what purpose. Not only that, but Subway sells sandwiches. Witches. I know right now you're gonna think that I'm crazy. I know I know that I sound like hella serious as AF, but just give me the chance. So I was watching this TV show with my husband and the ad pops up, and when I heard it, I went cold. I got a chill from the back of my head all the way to the back of my legs, almost as if something just grazed me, and I automatically knew something was not right. The ad that I saw promoted 3 sandwiches: the Philly, the Outlaw, the Monster. Don't you feel that it's a little weird? The Subway would purposely choose these names for their sandwiches and make them the top 3 sandwiches and put them on a commercial. Everything is done for a reason. Have you guys ever seen the videos of people that go into stores like Walmart, Kroger, and they basically break it down for you? How is it that those stores are set up and the effects that they have on the consumer's mind? The Philly, y'all, it's a whole dark story, a very deep dark story. But if you guys want to hear more about that, like this video, comment down below. But it's all connected. An outlaw is somebody that commits a crime and gets away with it. Jared Fogle got away with a lot of wicked crimes against children. Yeah, he got arrested. Yeah, he got charged, but he only got a slap on the wrist. He got 15 years, the bare minimum. But really, truly think about it. One of the few ways that someone could get away with committing a crime is if the public never finds out. There is a lot of people in this story that you're going to hear about. Peter Buck, Fred DeLucas, Rochelle Hermann, Katie Fogle, Jared Fogle. Could it be possible that there are more people that are tied to Subway that might have committed crimes that we don't know about? Immediately I knew that I had to dive deeper. And the very next day, that's exactly what I did. That same night, when I was getting ready to go to bed, I was in my bathroom and the weirdest thing happened. My cat jumped on my sink counter. I was washing my face. I turned around to grab a towel, and when I turned back, I see my cat sitting in a corner, her body facing the wall, and she was looking straight up. And I look up and I'm like, Gorda, what the are you looking at? And my cat turns around and looks at me. She turns back and then she gets on her back 2 legs, stretches up and puts her paws on the wall. And she looks up the entire time. I run out of my bathroom and I call my husband and I'm like, where are you? When he gets to the bedroom, I tell him what happened. And my husband is a person that does not believe in evil spirits, dark energy. He does not believe in any of that. And he tells me, you are tripping yourself out. And at the time, I'm like, yeah, okay. How did Subway come to be? And it all goes back to Peter Buck and Fred De Lucas. Fred De Lucas was born on October 3rd, 1947. Fred De Lucas comes from a low-income family who lived in public housing in Brooklyn. At the age of 10, Fred and his family moved to Bridgeport, Connecticut. And this is where Peter Buck comes in. Peter Buck is known to be a family friend. But keep in mind, Fred De Lucas didn't arrive in Connecticut until he was 10 years old. When he was 17, the whole idea of Subway would start. That is a 7-year gap. Peter Buck was born on December 19, 1930 in Maine. Neither one of these two were even born in Connecticut. They just happened to meet in Connecticut. Peter Buck was a nuclear physicist. What's a nuclear physicist? Seeks to understand the universe. They study the atomic nuclei, planets, stars, moons. Even people cannot exist without atomic nuclei. What I got from that, Peter Buck studies life. I'm assuming Peter has money. When Fred De Lucas turns 17, he hopes that the family friend would pay for his college education. People claim that Fred De Lucas was always aspiring to be great. He wanted wealth, power. And when you look at that, you think that's a good quality to have. He wants to be someone in life, but it could also be a really bad thing. Peter Buck was the one who actually came up with the idea of opening up a sandwich shop. And he was the one that provided Fred with $1,000 to start the business. All of this was just not making sense to me. So I started playing with the information that I had. And I added up Peter Buck's birthday to 1961. It could mean anything. To me, it looks like a year. I'm like, that's only 4 years away from when Peter Buck gave Fred De Lucas this money, this idea for this empire. What happened in 1961? 1961 flipped upside down is the exact same number. I found out that Fred De Lucas was 13 years old. We all know that 13 is an unlucky number, right? But did you know that the number 13 actually has a way darker history and is actually connected to evil, to wickedness, to demons? In 1961, Peter Buck was 30 years old. What does 30 mean? It is time for you to pay it forward, to share your blessings with someone less fortunate than you. Keep in mind that 60 years later, Peter Buck would die at the age of 90. But somehow, Peter Buck became friends with the De Lucas family, who was a low-income family. Did you know the witches have a dark history of using children as offerings to a wicked, sinister energy to become more powerful? Nowadays, you see movies of viruses turning human beings into zombies. You see movies of witches. You see movies of demons. So if anybody believes that it's true, people, society automatically think they're crazy. But wonder if there is a darker purpose for the movies that we see, so that maybe if they feed us this in a movie, it becomes a fantasy. Our ancestors believed in things like that. So why is it that now we have took that idea and made it make-believe? Did you know that in 1973, Peter Buck becomes a silent partner in Subway? He basically is leaving all of the responsibility to Fred DeLucas. And Fred DeLucas becomes the face of Subway. But Peter Buck was the mastermind behind it all. People report that Peter Buck gave Fred DeLucas $1,000. But wonder if that number is just rounded up. Wonder if Peter Buck gave Fred DeLucas $999. Just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. When Fred DeLucas assumed all of the responsibility, people said that Fred acted like a god. He even went as far as hitting on his employees' wives because he thought that he had the right to do so because Fred was the reason for their success. Not to mention Fred's weird calendars in the headquarters of Subway. Before we dive even deeper into this story, I do want to tell you guys the origin of my little glass of water. I made this last night for protection. I know it might sound crazy, but a lot of what we're talking about sounds extremely crazy. It doesn't mean it is not true. Yesterday, I was actually supposed to make this video, but I ended up not doing that because some weird stuff started happening to me and my husband, and even my husband was shocked. Yesterday, I was practicing my story out loud. It was daylight. The door to my porch was open, so my two cats were outside. My husband was in our breakfast table. He saw a crow land on our porch, on the railing of the porch. So my husband immediately is like, hey, trying to like scare the crow away. We looked it up. The crow does not do any harm to cats. If anything, cats do harm to crows. And my cats were both outside. They were in plain sight. So what made this crow want to land on my porch? I immediately thought, there's a purpose, there's a reason for what just happened, and I look it up. And I found out that crows are often associated with death and considered messengers between this world and the spirit world. The crow could be giving you a warning that something bad is going to happen. So my husband and I get to talking, right? Because he's a little more interested now in what I have to say. And he tells me that night he had a bad dream. He had a dream where he died in an airplane. He was the only one in our family on that plane, and that it crashed, and that suddenly everything went black, and that he thought he was still alive, but he kept thinking, it can't be, I'm dead. But everything was dark. Well, I told my husband that same night I also had a dream, and I kept coming in and out of sleep. I kept like waking up and like almost like I was on something. Have you guys ever had surgery and they give you like anesthesia and it's strong and it like puts you in and out of sleep? That's how I felt that night. I dreamt that my feet began to crack and that they were really dry and there were dark roots coming out of my feet. And I saw things because I don't know if they were female or male. I can't explain that to you. They didn't have a specific skin color. They were gray and they were surrounded by darkness. And like I didn't necessarily come into any harm in my dream. I just experienced it. Nothing hurt. Nothing was painful. I didn't scream. I didn't hear screams. I just witnessed it. Does that make sense? So I immediately start looking up things for protection. I made this yesterday. We slept perfectly fine. I don't know. I can't tell you for certain whether or not this worked. All I can tell you is that last night we didn't have a bad dream. But when I looked up Peter Buck, I saw this innocent man, this old, kind soul. That's what I saw. That's what that image of Peter Buck made me feel that he was like. But wonder if that's not who Peter Buck truly is. Wonder if there is a darker, much more sinister side to Peter Buck. Wonder if in 1965, Peter Buck came to Fred De Lucas and was like, hey, you want to be great? Do you want to have wealth? Do you want power? I can give that to you. And just so that you understand me, in 1999 is where Jared Fogle was introduced to the world because of this Subway sandwich diet. Jared Fogle was born in August 23rd, 1977 in Indiana. His birthday adds up to 2008. Jared Fogle's heaviest weight was 425 pounds. If you add the 4 and the 2, it equals 6. If you add the 2 and the 5, it equals 7. If you put those together in that order, it's 67. That's the age Fred De Luca will die. At his heaviest weight, Jared Fogle wore a size XXXXXL. His pants were 60-inch waist pants. He said that his weight loss journey started when he stood outside of a Subway shop and he saw a sign that said Subway has 7 sandwiches with 6 grams of fat. Jared Fogle lost 245 pounds. When you add the 2 and the 4, you get 6. When you add the 5 and the 4, you get 9. If you add the 2, the 4, and the 5, it gives you 11. Or 2 ones. When you put them together, it could be any number at all whatsoever. But what's interesting to me, these numbers can make up the year 1961. The year, I believe, this whole thing started. And now it has a connection to Jared and his weight loss. The craziest thing is that I found an episode of South Park in which Jared Fogle claims that the real reason why he lost weight was not because he was eating Subway sandwiches, but because there were other people showing him the way, and he called them his aides. That word can also mean a sickness. That episode aired on September 2014. Was South Park trying to tell us something? In 1999 is when Jared Fogle very first basically made the news. There was an article made about Jared Fogle titled From Thick to Thin. And this is where Jared Fogle gave Subway all of the credit for his weight loss, his amazing weight loss, for changing his life from worse to better. A small loan of $999. I completely forgot to mention, in 1999, Peter Buck established a foundation himself, the PCLB Foundation. In January 1st of 2000, the very first Subway commercial with Jared Fogle aired, and their sales rose 18% that year. And the following year, it rose an extra 16%. In 2002, Subway became the largest fast food chain in America, beating McDonald's. Jared, the Subway guy, because once again, he belonged to Subway. He was Subway's spokesperson for 15 years. 15 has a very deep meaning everywhere. And you are going to hear the number 15 being mentioned in this story a lot. In those 15 years, Jared Fogle did some disgusting, terrible things with the help of Russell Taylor. In my opinion, Russell Taylor was a puppet. An evil person, an evil man with a dark side, yes. The house that Russell Taylor was living in with his family was owned by Jared Fogle. His incredibly large salary was given to him by Jared Fogle. His high position in Jared's foundation, which gave him money, gave him status, was given to him by Jared Fogle. Russell Taylor basically sold himself and his family to Jared Fogle. Take a look right here. This is still from Jared from Subway Catching a Monster. This is the name, Salem Creek. And this is where the two girls start talking about their experience with Russell Taylor, the two young girls that met Jared Fogle. Isn't it crazy that Russell Taylor's wife, before meeting Russell, was a good Christian woman with good beliefs, a person who hardly drank alcohol, and then she meets Russell Taylor and she willingly lets this evil, sinister side of her out, and she did some terrible things to her children. In 2004, Jared established a foundation to educate children on making healthier choices so that they don't become obese. In reality, that foundation was a sham. It was a scam. It was nothing but a way for Jared Fogle and Russell Taylor to get money out of the public so that they can make it easier for themselves to live a whole nother different life. But this is the thing, I can't even explain to you what is it that Jared Fogle and Russell Taylor did, because YouTube will take this video down. Everything is chained up one way or another. And I have actually heard other YouTubers talk about this. What is it that YouTube is trying to keep hush-hush? It's in 2004 where Jared's second wife, Katie, says that Subway knew about his chilling behavior. I think that Subway knew all along. I feel like Subway actually made it easier. Subway encouraged it. This is what Subway wanted. Subway wanted a monster to go after your children. Because you remember that I told you that back in the day, even to this day, witches are known to offer up children to become more powerful. And later on, they will become the largest fast food chain worldwide. Rochelle Hermann, the selfless woman who met Jared Fogle and got a sinister confession from him. He told her he thought middle school girls were hot. And she claims that she automatically thought, oh my God, our children, I must save them. That is what she claims. But at the time, what I didn't put together was that Rochelle Hermann is a reporter. Rochelle thrives on stories, juicy stories. And what was Jared's confession? Not but the juiciest story she has probably ever come across in her entire life. And in my humble opinion, I think Rochelle knew that, and Rochelle wanted the opportunity. That's what she saw, an opportunity to become great, to have fame, to have money, to have everybody's attention. It wasn't because of the children, it was because of what it would do to her and her career. I went back to watch the documentary, actually sit down and see what was it that Amazon Prime was putting out. And when I saw this documentary, I could not believe my eyes. The way that Amazon Prime was portraying Rochelle, or maybe the way that Rochelle was portraying herself. Did anybody realize that Rochelle was wearing mainly red, was wearing animal print, and she was located in the center of a dark room, the only light orange? People have described Rochelle before Jared Fogle to be a bubbly person. And now people say that she has completely lost herself. Do you think it was because of what she heard Jared Fogle say? Because we have now all heard that. But maybe it was because Rochelle's intentions were not pure. Rochelle might have had evil, dark intentions for something much greater than just helping out our children. And maybe that ate at her consciousness, at her heart, her soul, whatever you want to call it, her good, positive, pure energy. It ate it away. When I saw Rochelle, I cannot shake the feeling that she was lying. She might have been lying maybe as to how far she went with Jared Fogle. Did anybody ever stop to think that it was Rochelle who was put in charge of recording every single phone call she had with Jared Fogle? Wonder if she didn't record every single phone call. Wonder if she destroyed evidence. Why? Because they were incriminating to her. In the documentary, when Rochelle meets up with Jared in his hotel room, the number that Amazon Prime put on Jared Fogle's hotel room was the number 3. There are only 3 episodes in the series Catching a Monster. They also displayed the number 3 on a TV when it started talking about Jared Fogle. This is a whole nother time that she grabs her face and has a ring finger. Keep in mind, that's this finger. That's an engagement finger. That's where she's wearing that ring, okay? Now look at that. Did you see that? Did you see that 3 on top of the TV? And then look what they show. The year that they got arrested, where everything started going down for Jared Fogle. What was the 3 about? The production team even goes as far as to ask Rochelle, when you heard Jared Fogle say this chilling confession to you for the first time, what was it that made you pursue this story even further? And Rochelle admits, at first, I was looking at a story, but then it was about the children. But her first instinct was to be a reporter. To be the one reporter who can say, I caught Jared Fogle. Me, alone. She tried to do it alone until she realized it was too big for her. And then, to save face, she said that it was about the children. I came across the number 15 tarot card. And to me, when I saw it, the very first thing that I thought about was Rochelle. If you look at the number 15 tarot card, it has a star. And there was also a star on Rochelle's door in the documentary. You notice how there is 2 other people besides that demon on that card. When I looked it up, people claim that it was a man and a woman. In my opinion, it looked like a boy and a girl. Children. 2 of them. Rochelle Hermann had 2 kids, a boy and a girl. When you look closely, you can tell that they are chained up to the demon, but the chains are loose. So the kids think that they are chained up and that they can't get away. But in reality, all it takes is for them to take that chain and take it over their head and walk free. You want to know something? Rochelle's oldest son moved to Taiwan and never went back to the US. Rochelle's daughter lost contact with Rochelle. What Rochelle did with Jared Fogle and their relationship destroyed the relationship between Rochelle and her daughter. Now, Rochelle claims that it was because one day her daughter got into her office and got into the diaries where she kept a log of everything that Rochelle and Jared talked about. But this is the thing. Rochelle can tell us whatever she wants, and there is nothing left for us to do but believe her, because she is her only witness. We don't know how far Rochelle went. All we know is that Jared Fogle asked Rochelle to put her kids on camera. Whether or not she did it, we may never actually know the truth behind it. All we know is that Rochelle's relationship to Jared Fogle and the sinister things that he did completely destroyed her relationship with her 2 kids. On that card, that chain leads to a circle. In that documentary, you can clearly see that Rochelle has a circle ring on a specific hand. Take a look right here, how Rochelle almost wants to cry but can't really work up a tear. So instead what she does is hold her face. Look. I can't cry. I also noticed that on certain points in that documentary and in other interviews that Rochelle gives about Jared Fogle and her experience, her relationship with him, Rochelle seems to enjoy the attention. Sometimes she even has a smirk. There is an energy behind Rochelle that I just can't shake off. And she just does not seem like a genuine person. In 2007, Rochelle involved the FBI. And she gave them all of the evidence that she had against Jared Fogle. The FBI said, you know what, Rochelle, we could press charges on you for doing that because that is illegal. Instead, what we want you to do is work for us because we need more evidence, as if this is not enough. You're telling me that the FBI couldn't follow Jared Fogle? You're telling me that the FBI couldn't look into who Jared Fogle's friends were? That is insane, and I don't believe it. So Rochelle goes on to work for the FBI. Also, in 2007, TMZ shares an article to the public about Jared Fogle's creepy dark past in his college, reporting that before Jared Fogle became a part of Subway, he ran an adult film workshop in his bedroom, revealing the real reason why Jared Fogle started eating Subway. It was not health motivated, but instead because of laziness, because it happened to be that a Subway had opened on the ground floor of his dorm room. When Subway was confronted with this allegation, Subway said the company had no knowledge of the story, and Jared wasn't available to comment. In 2007, Jared's first wife, Elizabeth, filed for divorce. And what she said was the reason for divorce was that Jared was broken. In 2008 was when Cindy Mills claimed that she complained about Jared to a Subway executive. Cindy had actual proof. She had text messages from Jared Fogle where Jared Fogle told Cindy all of these sinister, dark confessions. But when she tried to show it to executive, what they said was, don't tell me anymore. Don't worry about it. He has met someone and she is a teacher. A teacher. And he seems to love her very much. And we think that she will help keep him grounded. I don't know about you, but to me it seems that this teacher, Katie, may know more than she leads on. In my opinion, Subway made it easy for Jared Fogle to meet Katie, who was a teacher and knew about Jared Fogle and his sinister behavior. Subway has an evil, sinister past with children. Somebody made Jared Fogle a deal of a lifetime. And I'm not saying that it wasn't in Jared Fogle to do disgusting, sinister things to children. All I'm saying is that those disgusting things served for a higher, more sinister purpose. And that's why it was Subway's diet that saved Jared Fogle's life. So get this, in 2009, Rochelle and the FBI set up a plan where Rochelle calls Jared and said, hey, this Friday, I'm planning a child's birthday party and there's gonna be so many kids there. And you already know Jared is like, ugh, I gotta be there, you know, because that's his weakness. Well, guess what? At the last minute, Jared reschedules. You're telling me that man, last minute, says that he cannot attend a child's birthday party? Or is it more likely that somebody tipped him off? So instead, what Jared Fogle does is he tells Rochelle, hey, I can't make it Friday. How about I change it up on you? And we do this soon. Rochelle tells the FBI, and the FBI says, hey, we cannot come up with a plan in 48 to 72 hours. That's not enough time. You know how long that is? That is 2 to 3 days. You're telling me that it's not enough time? Or is it that there is someone up there that is trying to cover for Fogle as long as they possibly can? Because they can only lie to us for so long. Eventually, they need to capture the bad guy so that the public settles down and doesn't start asking questions. In 2010, Rochelle turns the FBI into the local police because they were not doing their job. When the local police told her there is nothing they can do and they basically transferred her back to the FBI, Rochelle threatens to out the whole thing, all of this evidence, on her radio show. This woman still wants the credit, still wants the attention. Why didn't she just send all of this to somebody secretly? Why is it that she wants to be the person to break it all? I think that was her demise. The FBI got a whiff of what Rochelle was trying to do and they raided her house. They raided her radio show and took all of the evidence that Rochelle had. Now keep in mind that there could be phone calls Rochelle never recorded. There could be recordings that Rochelle destroyed. There is nothing else for us to do but eat what Rochelle is feeding us because she is her only witness. After doing all of that, Rochelle claims that she was being followed, and I 100% believe she was being followed because Rochelle was trying to break a story about Jared Fogle to become famous and get money and recognition and all of this, but she was messing with the wrong one because they were protecting Jared Fogle. That's what they were doing. They were protecting this monster so that he could get away with this for that long, and they started following her. They started keeping tabs on her, and they went as far as to tell Rochelle, if you ever say anything about this, we are going to have you arrested. In 2010, Jared marries his second wife, Katie, the teacher. It was in 2011 when Subway became the largest fast food chain in the world. In 2013, Fred DeLucas was diagnosed with leukemia. In 2014, the police get a tip about Russell Taylor, Jared's friend, Jared's associate, the person that Jared spends most of his time with. And that is when all of this goes down because they caught on to Russell Taylor and the evil things that he was doing with children. And that is how they got to Jared Fogle. One tip. So you are telling me that all of this evidence that Rochelle gave you wasn't enough, but somebody anonymously tells you, hey, they're doing this over here at this house, and you jump? It don't add up. Smells good. It is said that Subway was alerted at least 3 times about Jared Fogle, who at the time was their prized possession. Jared Fogle was bringing attention, recognition, money, people to Subway. He was Subway's golden child. Jared Fogle belongs to Subway. He always has. In July of 2015, Jared's house was raided, and that was the fall of Jared. At the time, Jared was worth $15 million. Do I have to point that out? July 2015. Was worth $15 million after making 300 commercials with Subway. Also, let me add that in 2004, Subway and Jared started making more commercials for Subway with children in it. In August of 2015, Jared Fogle pleads guilty of all of his sinister crimes a month before Fred DeLuca dies. Jared's attorney blamed his diet for his sinister crimes, his chilling behavior, stating the Subway diet made him do it. I believe it. A lot of people are gonna look at that and say, Jared Fogle was trying to throw the blame somewhere else. But y'all, I feel like there is truth behind everything. There is meaning hidden everywhere. And even though that statement does not clean Jared Fogle of his sinister evil behavior, it tells us, the public, something. The Subway diet made him do it. They offered Jared Fogle a deal and Jared Fogle sold himself. He wasted no time, and I believe his second wife did too. His first wife was like, he's broken, I need a restraining order, I'm out. His second wife wasn't like that. His second wife was a teacher, and I truly do believe she knew something was going on. You're telling me that your husband is out and about with Russell Taylor so much for so many years, and you've never, ever found out any type of proof? Don't lie to me, because it's not gonna work. Jared Fogle was sentenced to 15 years on November 19 of 2015 for 14 victims. How, after all of the evidence that they got, how is it that this man walks away with a slap on the wrist? I don't understand. Is there someone protecting him? Did you know that when he is released on March 24 of 2029, Jared will come out of prison still a millionaire? From September 14, which is Fred's death, to November 19, which is Jared's sentencing, it's exactly 66 days apart. Jared will be released on a Saturday, the 6th day of the week. Now, if you look that up, the 6th day of the week is Friday, but only in America and a few other countries. Internationally, Saturday is the 6th day of the week. Saturday is also when there is a Sabbath. Sabbath. I don't know how to pronounce it. Anyways, witches have that. That is where they literally have a reunion, a conference with a dark evil energy, and they make offerings to become more powerful. You remember the sandwiches? Number 1, number 2, number 3. Add those numbers up for me. What does that give you? 6. Isn't it crazy that the top 3 sandwiches in Subway sandwich series are named so wickedly? And they're also numbered. If you look up their menu, because I have their original menu, nothing really is numbered. Why did y'all number these? There are 6 letters in Philly, 3 letters in the. There are 7 letters in Monster, 3 letters in da. There is 6 letters in outlaw and 3 letters in da. If you add up the numbers in the names of the 3 sandwiches the Subway is promoting, you will get a 19 and you will get a 9 and a 6. Play around with those numbers and tell me you don't get 1999. I have found out that numbers have meanings. Numbers are there to tell you a hidden story. They can be evil, they can be good. It depends on who is using them and for what. They want your children. You don't believe me? Have you guys heard of Dalai Lama? What is Dalai Lama? Dalai Lama is a Buddhist advocate for peace and freedom. The 14th Dalai Lama, which is the one that's alive right now during our time, has achieved a level of visibility and celebrity that would have been unimaginable for his predecessors, the people before him. He became the most famous Buddhist teacher in the world. On February 28th of 2023, the Dalai Lama asked an 8-year-old boy to give him a kiss after the boy asked if he could give him a hug. An innocent hug. Children are innocent. Children can see what adults can't because their minds have not been corrupted yet. They're pure, they're love. And after he kissed them on the lips, he sticks his tongue out and he says, "Now suck my tongue." I believe that these people that have evil within them tend to expose themselves to the public. Jared Fogle did it. Jared Fogle confessed all of his sins to Rochelle Hermann. Jared Fogle texted Cindy Mills. I'm sure his wife knew. Jared Fogle told Russell Taylor. Subway knew. Jared Fogle in every single interview always brought the subject back to children and how much he loved working with children. And the Dalai Lama exposed himself as well on February 28th of 2023. And there are people defending him, saying that it's a cultural thing. I believe that these energies fight for power. They fight for control. Control of what? Of the human race. The people that are actually human, like you and me, our consciousness, our good, our evil, they want to control us and they fight for control. Why do I believe that? Because Subway throws shade to McDonald's and McDonald's is no better. Cardi B threw shade at the Dalai Lama, talking about that us as parents, we should do better for our children. We should teach our children what they can and cannot do with strangers, what they should and should not allow strangers to ask of them. But Cardi B, where were you during the Balenciaga scandal? Oh yeah, I forgot. Sorry, you were getting paid by them. Do you guys know about Balenciaga and what happened with them and what they did to our kids? Well, this video is long enough and I'm gonna leave it at this. I love you guys so much and I wish for you nothing but protection and happiness in your life. But we have to stay awake. We have to look at what's hiding behind the masks. So if you guys enjoyed this video, give this video a big thumbs up. Comment down below. Do you guys want to know what happened with Balenciaga? Let me know and I will do it for you. I love you guys. Bye! I love this. This smells so good.